In the name of Allah, hello everybody, welcome to our class today. I hope you are doing great as usual. As I promised you yesterday, today we will have a discuss about the component of motherboard. This lesson is very important and also it is very interesting and I'm sure you will enjoy from studying this lesson. Okay, students, let's start immediately. Okay, a motherboard has several components as shown in the figure and you're seeing them. Each of them is dedicated to a different task, and the motherboard itself is a combination of different components. Some of the basic components of the motherboard are shown in the figure, and you're seeing them: the APG slots and PCI slots and south bridge and CMOS battery, backup battery, okay, and others, connector front, and some of them are listed in the next page that you can see them if you need. And they are chipset, CPU socket, memory slots, expansion slots, disk connectors, M2 slots, ADU slot, CMOS battery, headers, power connectors, VRAM, input-output slots, pen case, fan connectors, back panel connectors, and front panel connectors. Okay, students, we will have discussed about all of them and you will know all of them. Okay, the first one is chipsets. The chipset of the motherboard is a collection of chips and circuits that perform interface and peripheral function for the processor. The collection of chips provide interface for memory, expansion cards, and onboard peripherals, and generally prescribe how a motherboard will communicate with the installed peripherals. Chipsets are usually given a name and model number by the original manufacturer, like Intel's X79. There are featured two kinds of functionals group in the chipset. The first is North branch and the second is South branch. Okay, as you're seeing it here in the figure. Okay, but the North branch provides communication between the high-speed components like processor and memory or integrated video, while the South branch provides the communication between the slower peripherals like PS2, parallel ports, and the serial ports, and etc. Okay, let's go ahead. What's the next? Okay, the next is CPU socket. Another vital motherboard component is the CPU socket. That's shown in figure and you are seeing that, I'm sure, which is used to install the processor on the motherboard. The main job of CPU socket is install the processor on the motherboard. Okay. Currently, there are two major manufacturers of processors. The first one is Intel and the next one is AMD, which produce processors that are installed on the different sockets. They are not interchangeable, and their sockets are different from each other. A CPU socket comprises of several hundred pins that get in the direct contact with the processor chip or a socket. Also, socket may have several hundred pins, holes as in the case of lattice AMD or AM4 sockets. Both Intel and AMD have released various sockets in the past decades that support a particular generation or generations of processors. Some of important sockets are explained in here. I will explain them, and they are the type of socket. Okay, the first one I think is socket 7, and listed in the next page. Okay, as I said, socket 7. It's a 321 pin socket that supports older processors like Intel Pentium 1, 2, MMX, AMD K5, and AMD K6, and Series M2. Okay, the next one is, as you see, socket 370. It's a 370 pin socket that supports a Celeron processor and the Pentium 3 processor. And the next one is, as you're seeing, socket 775. Okay, it also has 775 pin socket that supports inter dual core or C2D P4 and Xeon processor. The next one is socket 1156 found on the latest type of motherboard. It's an 1186 pin socket that supports latest Intel Core i3, Core i5, and Core i7 processors. And next is socket 1366. The socket is of 1366 pins and support the latest Core i5 900 processors. Okay, students, let's go ahead. The next one is memory slots. Memory slots are used for holding memory chips that make a primary memory that is used to store currently used data and instruction for the CPU. And that primary memory is also called RAM. I'm sure that you know them. Random access, that means random access memory. We will have a discuss about the memory in the next chapter completely. Also, memory slots are two types. The first one is SIM slots. The full form is a single N9 memory model. These slots were found in older motherboards up to 468 boards. The SIM memory slots support 32 bits buses. We will have also a discuss about buses in the next section. Okay, the next one is DIMM or DIMM slots. The full form of DIMM or DIMM is double inline memory model. These are the latest RAM slots which run on a faster 64-bit buses. The DIMM used on laptop boards are called the SODIMM memory slots. Okay, students. This memory slot that is shown in this figure is the DIMM slot. It's also important to say that memory slots are long and cylinder type of generation and is close to the CPU socket. They are available in the different colors and most in white color. Okay, students, let's go ahead. The next one is expansion slots. Expansion slots are used to install various devices in the computer to expand its capability and performance. Some expansion devices that can be installed in these slots including video card, network card, sound card, and disk interface cards. Expansion slots is shown in the figure, and I'm sure you're seeing that the expansion slots have featured three types which are using to this, and that slots are. The first one is PCI or peripheral component interconnect. The PCI slot is one of the important motherboard components today and is vastly used to install add-on card. The PCI supports 64-bit high-speed buses. Okay, the next one is, as you are seeing, the AGP or accelerated graphics, specifically used to install a latest graphics card. AGP runs on a 32-bit bus, and both PCI and PCIe and AGP can be used to install high-end gaming display cards. Okay, the next one is PCIe, or Peripheral Component Interconnect Expenses. These are the latest. Okay, these are the latest and the fastest component of the motherboard to support add-on cards. It supports 4 duplex serious bus. It's also important to say that also there were ISA slots, and these were the oldest expansion slots in the history of motherboard. They were found in 80 boards and are identified by black color. Conventional display cards or sound cards were installed in these slots. The full form of ISA is Industry Standard Architecture and is I think 16-bit bus. It's support. Okay, students, let's go ahead. The next one is disk connectors. Motherboards have disk connectors that are used for connecting the hard drive, which is permanent storage devices. There are a few different kinds of hard drive connectors available today. One is integrated drive electronics or IDE connector, or parallel advanced technology attachment or PATA, which is older one. The other one is serial ATA or SATA, which is newer and much faster than PATA. PATA has a large number of pins, while SATA doesn't have any pin. SATA, which stands for Serial Advanced Technology Attachment, is an interface which connected storage devices like a hard drive or a solid state drive to the motherboard. Unlike the other component, a SATA hard drive or SSD is connected via a SATA cable, which has 7 pins. This figure is shown the SATA disk connectors. Okay, students, let's go ahead. The next one is M2. M2 is among us the latest additional to the motherboard, which serves as the interface to connect to SSDs, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and etc. As buses such as PCI, SATA, and USB get exposed through it. An NVMe SSD connected through the M2 connector doesn't get bottlenecked like through the SATA port, as it gets 4 PCI lanes to transfer data resolution in a speed that several times faster than the SATA. Most of the Intel and the AMD motherboards nowadays feature at least on the M2 slots. M2 slots is shown in the figure, and you are seeing, I'm sure. Okay, students, the next one is audio slots. Every motherboard has a dedicated audio section near the audio jacks at the input-outputs. It can generally be identified by a PCB circuit line inside, where there are several capacitors. High-end motherboards have more components in the audio section. For crisp, clear sound, audio slot is shown in the figure, and you are seeing in here. I'm sure you have seen this in your computer cases also. Okay, students, let's go ahead. Okay, students, it was our lesson today. Please pay attention for your homework. The first question of your homework is: what type of socket does your computer have for holding its processor? Please research about yourself computer. As we studied the type of CPU socket or processor socket. They were the 7-1 like this. And the next question of your homework is research about the DIMM memory slot that is used today. And the third question of your homework is what's the main job of expansion slots that we studied then. Okay, students, please solve your homework and do your homework and share with me in the group or in my personal WhatsApp address. In the next lesson, we will have discussed about the other component of motherboard. Have a good time. Good luck. Thank you.